Yo, yo, yo. Hey, everyone. How's it going? And welcome to another episode of the Two Abdullahs. Today, featuring Apostate Aladdin.
Hey
So,
guys.
this is the first time we have Aladdin on the channel on camera. So, the last time we had him on, everyone was remarking on his beautiful voice. Now you can see the man. So yeah, it's nice to have you, Aladdin, and for everyone else, it's nice to have you as well. Finally getting back to doing the Two Abdullah show. It's been months. It's been like, I think the last episode we did was in February, I believe. So yeah, it's been way too long. How's it going, Gondal?
Good. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's been a while, like Samir said. Nice to be back. We're going to be continuing on from where we left off, but just a few updates. I've been busy working with other things, so we are definitely going to get back into more of a routine. It's just that with the whole pandemic, working again and then all over settling into life, it's just taking some time. But yeah, things are getting back to normal. Make sure you get your vaccine shots, and let's get started. Anything else would you like to add, Aladdin?
Before Aladdin
Can
jumps
you
in,
imagine if I was like staunchly anti-vax right now? If I was like, wait, let's argue about this.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd love to argue about that. But I was gonna say one more thing I forgot to mention. Abdullah Gondal forgot to mention is he got banned on Twitter. So yeah, that's you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so what happened is, like, from the past 3 months, I was getting flagged on tweets that had been made like 14, 16 months ago. So about a year and a half ago. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then somebody DM'd me like a screenshot of this account called Hate Hunters on Twitter. And they're basically mass flagging. They have like 4 or 5 other accounts. They coordinate these mass flags and are taking down, people they don't like, especially the people who criticize Islam. So same thing happened with me one fine day. Normally I'd get delete the tweet and your account will be open and you can use it again. I'd do that and whatever. But then, it just got reported so many times. And then I woke up one day and it was just banned. And it was just the same old thing. Like I was talking about how the Quran creates a sense of hate or kafir phobia. And I was trying to explain that to somebody and that comment just got flagged. I don't know if it was an AI. I did file for review. I don't know what's going to go on.
And Aladdin, you also got banned, right, on TikTok several times now.
Oh yeah, more times than I can count. But I hear that now it's starting to affect other atheists too, not just ex-Muslims. So at least we have solidarity there. They can relate to us.
Yeah, it is what it is. Social media is in some ways against us, but it's not a conspiracy or anything like that. It's just the incentives are not aligned with our incentives. Our incentive is to get the message out. Our message, the incentive is we don't care about your message. We just want, to make money off, people dancing. Yeah. So like that's the focus and that's what they're done. But they don't really care about anything else. So should I share the slides then and then we'll just get into it?
Yeah, for sure. I think the last time we were on slide 63 out of 101 or something like that.
Yep.
All right.
So the last one we did was this one, right?
Okay. Yeah, I remember this one. This is about the urine. So I've seen this thing pop up again once in a while where the peculiarity of focusing on urine drops falling on clothes leading to torture and grave. Like, what's the big deal? But then on the counter end, you have these hadith where it says that if a baby urinates on you, if a male baby does it, you just sprinkle some water on it. If it's a female baby, you got to wash the whole cloth and whatnot, right? So there's a little bit of inconsistency. Like, what is like the difference between like baby urine versus human urine? Is one more filthy than the other? One is like worthy of torture, and
Islamic science.
Yeah. And then, I mean, why the hell is this guy like hearing voices like walking in a graveyard? And out of all the things that could have been torture for the causes, they just took a piss in the wrong way.
Oh, looks like we just lost Aladdin. Hopefully he'll get him back.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll continue on the next slide.
All right. So, all right. So this one is... this is not me saying it. This is just what the slides say. Women are dumb and go to hell. Again, in quotation marks from Muhammad, the greatest man to ever live, the biggest feminist of all times. So the first one, it says that, isn't the witness of a woman equal to half of that of a man? The women said, yes. He said, this is because the deficiency of a woman's mind. Now, one thing I want to talk about here is the Arabic of it. And as we know that Aladdin is from Agraba, he's also Arab. And so there's a word that they use, I believe it's the نقصان عقلها or ناقصات العقل, something like that. What does that mean? What does the word aql entail?
Oh man, that's aql it means literally brain, but it can also entail like the it's hard to translate it between languages, but a person's awareness maybe, like or afala ta'qilun, for example, that means do you not think? So it has to do with your brain in a way. Yeah.
Okay. So you think this is kind of trying to straight up say explicitly that women's brains are like deficient compared to men, if you read it in like its literal form in the Arabic?
I don't know if it means like physically the brains are smaller or deficient in that regard, but it says nuqsan means like a reduction or smaller brain, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
because the word nuqsan in Urdu exists too, and we use it in Urdu. It means a loss, like nuqsan ho gaya. He lost it, like he had a big major loss, or he had a big calamity befall him. But yeah, it's like in a negative sense too. So that's interesting that the kind of the meaning of the word is consistent throughout like the two languages. But yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, right? Like when Muslims come up with the counter argument that, oh, the Quran just says you have to stipulate it, it's only for those transactions that you write. Well, no, Muhammad takes it a step further and he's explaining the tafsir. There's no better mufassir than the Prophet himself. And if he's saying that it's generally a deficiency of a woman's mind, it's kind of looks really bad.
Didn't Muhammad also do this, like almost the same thing with when he just went up to someone and told him, do you know where the sun sets? And the person was like, no, Prophet. And then he said, it sets in a muddy spring. Like he explicitly said that in a hadith. So whenever apologists say, no, the hadith doesn't mean that, it means as if, or sorry, the verse means as if sets in a muddy spring and so on. The Prophet literally says it in a hadith. This is what I meant to say, right? So in this hadith, he's literally just saying, yes, it's because she's deficient in her mind. Like, how do you get out of that one?
I was going to say, when you read the Quran, I think this always boggles people's mind. Why is, one female, why do you need two female witnesses or one male, right? And so like you're saying, this gives confluence, this explanation gives confluence to the reasoning that Muhammad had some messed up ideas about women's intelligence, which is why he did this, why he said this. Because otherwise you're just left scratching your head, like what? Like, could it be because of this? Could it be because of this? And scholars do give different reasons. Oh, women are busy with other things. But like women could be in, situations where they do need to give witness too, right? And then now you're saying you need two of them. So like, where did this come from, right? And obviously everything in the Quran always comes down to what happened in Muhammad's life. So something happened in Muhammad's life that made him think this way. And this hadith, I mean, we don't know for sure, based on, my understanding, we don't know 100% for sure if Muhammad said this, but this is one possible reason that actually makes sense because it jives with the Quran. It's not out of place. If the Quran is saying, two women or one man, well, we don't know why, but now we have a reason that actually makes sense from someone who thinks this way. You know what I'm saying? So if someone thinks that women are deficient of mind, well, therefore a logical conclusion would be, well, you need two of them instead of one man. I mean, it's completely ass backwards because, we have women, like I was watching this Netflix documentary today about the human mind, and some of the brightest minds out there doing research on, neuroplasticity or prosthetic arms. In this episode, it was about, creating a prosthetic arm that can be connected to that someone that lost the arm can actually feel the sensation. And it was a woman. It was a woman doing this. She's in charge of the research team. So it's like women are not dumb. Women are not deficient in mind. Women are just as smart as men. right? And so this is absolutely ass backwards. Gondal, you trying to share something on the screen?
Yeah, so another thing that ties in exactly with that is this famous hadith which talks about women being created from the rib of Adam. And it's very, very frequently reported, says, act kindly toward women, for they were created from a rib, and the most crooked part of a rib is its top. If you attempt to straighten it, you will break it, and if you leave it alone, it will remain crooked. So act kindly towards them. So this whole idea circles back to the rib being crooked. So they're somehow just created in a way, or they're just naturally crooked. And it, for some weird reason, mentions the top part of the rib, which probably is alluding to the head or the brain or the aql, like you said. Again, that just ties in with it. But again, then the other idea is that they didn't think actually the brain does anything, or it does a lot. It's actually more the heart and whatnot, you know. Can't their heart see or their feel? So I don't know, but it's just a weird, interesting, coincidence that he also said that they're created crooked and the top part's just a little broken. It's just messed up. Like, it's pretty explicit. Like, guy doesn't has no chill.
You actually brought up a good point. The aql. I don't think that word means literally the brain, like in the head. I don't know if they understood that, because there's this focus on the heart. You know, khatamallahu ala qulubihim, God sealed their hearts. They think that all the emotions and the thinking is happening like down here. So aql, I don't know if it necessarily means the actual brain, you know. Yeah.
Before we continue, just want to remind everyone to please like the video. Click right here, like the video, and if you saw the tweet on Twitter, please retweet it so we can get more people to watch it. And yeah, that's all I wanted, just a friendly reminder.
All right, let's get to the next slide. Or actually, we are still on that same one.
Do you want me to? Oh yeah, I gotta share the screen. 1 second. Share screen.
Oh, we haven't even started.
Yeah, we just barely begun.
Lady, Islamic nonsense. Oh, where did it go? It disappeared. 1 second. Okay, got it.
There we go. So I think the one in the bottom is also quite telling. Like, talking about what we need to keep in mind is like the whole holistic view of, it's not just one line where he's attacking women at. He's attacking them from the heaven hell perspective. He's attacking them from the crooked bone, then the witness, then their inheritance, then them not being allowed to go. So as you kind of see that women are pretty cornered in terms of what they're allowed in Islam. But this also affirms, like the next one, Muhammad said, I looked into paradise and found that the majority of its dwellers were the poor people, and I looked into fire and found the majority of its dwellers were women. But this is quite an explicit statement where this guy's claiming that he went, and apparently there's already people in hell. I don't know how time dilation and whatnot works in the Islamic theology, but he already saw, like, and if he's seeing the future after the day of judgment, that he's already seen that most of the women are going to be in hell. And if not, like, I mean, he just shows you that it's this weird hatred towards women. Like he says, like to go see God, and you're seeing all these things, and you got to remember that you saw most women in hell. It's just a weird generalization. And that also is weird in a way where we see that is the gender ideology going to be constant till the end of times. Like, for example, back in like 1400 years ago, we had like, or even now still, is the male female. But like, as we move forward in philosophy and time progressive and surgeries come up, like the whole idea of, you know, like male and female is kind of changing in a way where, is Islam really meant for all times to come? Will it keep up with modern sexuality when machines join in our body and whatnot? That's just another aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
what I noticed is that he talks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, he mentions poor people, right, being the dwellers of heaven, and then hell is full of women. Like, are all those women rich, or?
That's a good
that's
question.
What I want to understand. Are they the 1% and simultaneously like the majority of hell?
Well, maybe that's why he was trying to reduce their inheritance too. I'm just kidding. Or maybe because
it's for their own good, because poor people go to heaven.
Maybe because like Muhammad was married to Khadijah, and she was the leader in the house, you know, with all the finances and the trade and everything. He, after that, was kind of, you know, when she died, he was traumatized or something, and he got scarred in a way that he just went all out, like no more women in business, no more this and that.
I want to say something, but I want to read this comment. I asked my sheikh how Muhammad saw people in hell when judgment hasn't happened yet. His response was, time works differently in the hereafter.
Logic works differently in the afterlife too.
Yeah. And what I was gonna say was, don't you feel like Muhammad is giving incel vibes here? Like his insecurity with women, his total control. I mean, yesterday I did a live stream where I was responding to this red pill guy, Andrew Tate, and how it's bizarre, you know, as famous and attractive and wealthy as he is so insecure about women. And he kept saying, oh, these women are cheating on us nowadays. And this is always about the women's sexuality. And this is exactly, and he was praising Islam. And this is exactly what Islam is all about, controlling women's sexuality. It's almost like Muhammad had like some, big insecurities about sexuality, because no one's allowed to see his wives. His wives have to stay behind a curtain. Most of them are going to hell. It's like, damn, like, was Muhammad the first incel? I mean, obviously he wasn't an incel. He had kids and everything.
Well, but he is, yes. No, you're absolutely right. Like, remember the hadith about how many women, sleeping with all of his wives in one night with one ghusl?
Yes.
Who says that? Like, how did that come to light?
Strength of 100 or 40 men or whatever.
Yeah. Like, who said that? Were his wives just like talking to each other and they're like, hey, how was, sleeping with our husband last night? No. Like, did he just go to his Sahaba and tell them, by the way, I have sex very well? Like,
and then he makes up another story of like the Prophet Solomon having sex with like 90 wives in one night. Like, come on, guy.
What is this erotica? It doesn't make sense.
This is, when you think about it, in the first, 10 years of his life after becoming prophet in Mecca, he just had one wife who was 15, 20 years older than him. And then suddenly, as she dies, this guy was 50, by the way, or almost 50 something when she died. And all of a sudden, in the last 13 years of his life, in Ibn Kathir's version of the Sirah, Muhammad ended up marrying 18 women in total. And then some were divorced. The guy actually, there's reports of 6 of them being divorced, and some of the incidents are very weird where, Aisha went to one of his wives and said, oh, by the way, Muhammad killed your dad. So she broke up with Muhammad, like this kind of stuff. It was petty. It was straight up petty stuff from some of the stories,
Yeah.
But you seeing this weird, and like during those last 13 years of his life, when I was calculating, adding his slaves and the marriage proposals he rejected and all encounters, there were like about 30 some sexual encounters. He had like about 20 partners, man, at one point. And then when you think about this, it was, if you calculate, there's points in his life where Khadijah died, and within the back-to-back, a month or two later, he married Aisha and Safiya. Sauda.
Yeah.
Like, so you see the clear hypersexuality attitude suddenly jump up after Khadijah died. And I have my own theory, which is, we've talked about it before, but with the hypo and hypersexuality with the epilepsy. Not going to get into that today.
Yeah.
But it's just a very interesting thing. Everybody notices the weird sexuality, and then heaven is like a brothel. When there's the verses are like women with big eyes and big boobs. Like, come on, guy. Like, it's getting a little too much.
You're not going to believe, like, on TikTok a few months ago, I brought that to light, how come Allah is just describing a bunch of women for men? And a lot of the women were saying, well, we get to have Hur al-Ain too. I'm like, are you sure about that? Tell me one fatwa. And they were very disingenuous. I'm pretty sure Abdullah Samir is familiar with them, but I'm not going to name anybody. They were basically saying that you can have whatever you want in Jannah, which means women can have men in Jannah. And I just want to envision like a Muslim man and his wife goes up to him in Jannah, and she's like, okay, so I'm going to go with like 5 Hur al-Ain there. And I'll meet up with you later and see if Allah removes the jealousy from their hearts. Like, do you think it works that way?
Well, it's weird because in Surah Rahman it says that Allah has protected the hurs inside tents from the lam yatmishunna min al-insu wala jan, and they're in these
very
tents.
Protected virgins.
Yeah. So why would Allah protect the virgins in heaven? Who are they being protected from? I thought in heaven they don't get raped or there's no jealousy.
Muslim men.
Like, Oh my God.
It's their hell. It's their version of hell.
Yeah, no, I think it
Oh,
means
God.
protected from. Yeah, actually, that's true. There's only Muslim men and there's no non-Muslims. Right? But
The pious
I
jinns?
think it means protected from the gaze of other men. Yeah, obviously, and touching and jinns and whatever.
But the gaze wouldn't have an effect because there's no sin in Jannah. There's no bad thoughts. Nothing makes sense.
That's a good point. We have a caller waiting, but before we do that, because this is a call-in show, I want to respond to this. Let you guys respond to this. Before the Prophet Muhammad, everyone was simply burying their daughters alive. There was no limit to polygamy, and daughters got no inheritance. Daughters got no inheritance. Okay, okay. Muhammad gave all these rights and what?
I wonder how Khadijah became rich. The women had no rights, but Khadijah was running this business, and she headhunted Muhammad. She even had slaves, male slaves, working for her as employees. But anyways, and also the thing is, it's not Muhammad who's the measure, and it's not just the Meccan society that's the measure. If Muhammad is the man for all time to come, then you can look at the Greeks, Romans, the societies before that gave way more rights and privileges to women in many regards than what we found Muhammad doing. And in fact, in retrospect, Muhammad might have given some rights to women, but he also limited their freedom in many ways that the earlier Arab women had not. Like, for example, their liberty to be
divorce, right? Yeah,
exactly. Divorce right, going to the mosque, being covered all the time in the desert heat, there's hadith they would be covered like crows on their head or something. So it wasn't
we're all missing something. I don't even go into these arguments about whether the situation was worse and it got better. It's like, okay, and then what happened since then?
Yeah,
it's like what about the first car, or the Ford Model T? It was one of the first cars that was like mass produced. Would you drive it today? No, it's a piece of shit, right? Like it was better than walking back then, but now we have cars. So now what is the improvement on that?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah, and I think you said everything. That I don't have anything to add to that. Basically, it's possible some things were better, but a lot of things are worse.
There are hadith actually. Women have become emboldened, where the women complain, or Omar complained that the women
they were going to the mosque or something, right? Or they were like the women. They learned from the women of Medina to talk back.
Yes,
or something.
yes. And then he allowed to beat them or something.
Yeah,
I found it. There you go. Sahih by Al-Albani. Just gonna share.
Yeah, the main problem with Islamic rights is everything had to do. Can I just add one more thing? Okay, you want to share this, and then I want to add one more thing.
So, women have become emboldened towards their husbands. This is one. Anyway, there's another one where he goes into the women of Medina are complaining that they've become too haughty, and it's a longer version of the hadith. But yeah, that's the whole thing where there was a whole scenario where Muhammad actually allowed women to be beaten because Omar just said, yeah, they're becoming a little too intense with us, so let us beat them. Muhammad said, okay. And then there was a counter complaint, and it's just like a weird, why would you even allow domestic violence, period, if you're the prophet of God? It shouldn't be getting.
He discouraged it, is what some people say. He discouraged it.
All right. So I was going to add one more thing. I'll just make it very quick so we can take the callers, which is that every single thing that happens in the Quran had to do with Muhammad's life and him in particular. For example, 4 witnesses for adultery. That entire thing happened because Aisha was accused of adultery and he wanted her to be innocent. Now, we won't get into whether she was actually innocent. According to Sunni view, she was innocent. According to Shias, she cheated on Muhammad, right? But the Quran says she doesn't. I don't know how they reinterpret that, but the Quran says she's innocent. But the reason for the 4 witnesses is because of Muhammad and his wife, potentially cheating on him. So these rules are not meant to help women. They're meant to help Muhammad. Everything in the Quran, including marrying your adopted son's ex-wife, including you can't name your adopted children after you, everything is for Muhammad at the end of the day. In some way, it's to benefit him. So, the point is, coincidentally, some things might be better for women, but overall, that wasn't the purpose of it, right? That never was the purpose. If you guys want to add anything else before I take the caller, go ahead.
No, I think I'm good. We can take the caller.
Okay, awesome. Moet, how's it going?
Oh,
hey, how's it going?
Nice
to see you, man.
It's Mo, Texas, USA.
Oh,
yes.
Right
on.
Yeah. And good to see you all three, Aladdin and Abdullah, Gondal and Abdullah Samir. And thanks for taking
Thank
me
you.
in. Really appreciate it. Y'all do a fantastic job. Y'all do such a great job that if somebody is just neutral, he would actually he will go away running twice as speed of light from Islam. We'll just
Burak speed.
Burak.
Burak speed.
approximately right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I got several questions, and since all three of you are y'all so knowledgeable, I should ask. I don't know. I got many questions actually, but I know time is of a constraint, and I don't want to take up all of the callers' time as well. So my simple question now: we're talking about Khadijah, and we're talking about Muhammad, and what I want to know is that time period between Khadija's death till Aisha or Sada. Some references say Sada was the second. Some says or Khala or Sada. I think Sada, and some references say it was Aisha. So between that period, what did Muhammad do? Did he go to sex slaves, concubines, or he was just dormant, or he behaved?
I'll start with the answer. So I would say that I don't know if he had sex slaves at that point because he wasn't it was still in Mecca and he didn't have an
Yeah.
army and the jihad hadn't started yet. He might not have sex slaves, but I don't know if he was dormant, but he had the whole year of grief where his uncle died. And then shortly after Khadijah or his wife was the opposite, but it was in a small time frame. And then I think it was a couple months. Now I can go quickly check that. If you give me a second, I'll go grab the Rahiq al-Makhtoum. I had it marked somewhere. But I think it was like 2-3 months. And he married them within like a month apart or something like that. I'll go confirm that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'll be right back.
well, you don't have to. You don't have to because I also kind of know. I knew it from before. That was only a couple of months.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just want to make sure if anybody, and you can always search it later on,
Mhm.
and we can talk about. Now, since Abdullah Gondal, have you finished your PhD, or are you still working on it?
No, I'm still working on it.
Okay. Well, then would be a question for you. Um, there is a okay. According to the Muslim history, Muhammad got revelation from God through Gabriel, and he then created the book of Quran, which wasn't in the form of book until 30, 40 years later, 50 years maybe. But in that book, when I read it, and I read with an open mind, and I see that Allah is constantly threatening, constantly saying stuff that no human would like. And to go further in that, if you look at chapter 55, there are about maybe there are about 77 or 78 verses altogether. Within that entire chapter, about 28 or 30 or maybe 32 times, this one verse is repeated over and over and over
فبأي
again.
آلاء ربكما تكذبان, I think.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and also throughout the entire Quran, you see there is punishment for kafirs. Kafirs are, you know, are the mean people. Whatever. Don't you think that this Quran, if it's what was written by God, Allah, wasn't Allah suffering from obsessive compulsive disorder?
Exactly. So that's a very good question, and I would love to answer that. I discussed this in my initial this long presentation we had on his mental health. So there's a few things going on now. Muhammad's repetitive phraseology, like Dr. Dedeker could actually explained it as well in his book Life Alert. It will be featured in much more detail in the upcoming documentary, where he says that these patients display this thing called hypergraphia, and it's pretty consistent. Like, and sometimes it can come out in writing form, sometimes it come out in verbal form, and you see that their thoughts get ideated and stuff. And there's something called viscosity in speech that develops, where they'll, and then actually I'll just share my screen because I had just a few slides, and there's some papers that I shared as well. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. So we saw like patients poetry coming up in some of the people. And that was like people who had no issues, no affiliation with poetry in the past. They would just start rhyming if they had seizures. Then the thing you mentioned is viscosity and social cohesion. So basically, viscous and circumstantial speech develops, which is an obsessive focus and repetition on a small scale of topics with lots of jumping and wandering in thought. And that, like you said, is a very prominent feature of the Quran, where he keeps repeating the same thing, but then he'll go on tangents, kind of with no really meaning to them, come back. So yeah, this is actually like clinginess and stickiness in speech. And then we also talked about, there's a few examples of compulsive rhyming coming up as well. Now, there are other patients who have had such experiences, and they're actually very, very well known. And I'm going to say one of the biggest scholars of today's world, Karen Armstrong, who has like 3-4 honorary PhD, Cambridge Dean PhD, some special PhD that is above like a normal doctorate. And she's actually a temporal lobe epileptic patient. She has this hypergraphia, and she's written so many books. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, seemed to suffer from something called schizophrenia, according to his wife, and he had hypergraphia. He wrote like, I don't even know, like a 1,000 books. He has a world record for a long time. Fyodor Dostoevsky, in fact, is one of the greatest names in literature. Like, if you ask anybody, they would name him as one of the best writers to have ever existed. And he was an explicit epileptic, temporal lobe epilepsy sufferer, who explicitly discussed Muhammad as a patient suffering from the same disorder he does in his own books. So there are these things, and he could notice the patterns too. And I noticed these same patterns in the initial composition of the first surahs in the Quran, where he just keeps threatening upon threats. And it's like 80% of the first 50 verses revealed were just, you're going to burn in hell in this different form, right? But we have some experts that are going to join us for the documentary, and they discuss this as well, why we see this. This threatening attitude also is a symptom of psychosis that develops in epilepsy, and they become verbally violent, and people don't like getting challenged on their delusions. So their immediate reaction is, hey, show me an angel or a sign from God. You don't believe me? Well, you're going to burn in hell, And we see these things in cult leaders as well. But I think I've gone on for a bit too long on that one. So let's.
Yeah, even today, the moment you question anything, any tenets of Islam, immediately the sword or the gun, and lately the bombs come out immediately, as if you don't agree with you, you're gonna just explode about. Yeah, that's another. I got another question about Muhammad's personality. He seems to be my favorite person. The more I study him, the most. Let me tell you that.
So Mo, could we save that for later, because we want to get to some more slides. So when we invite callers again, do call back in, and if there's nobody else, then we'll take some more questions.
Just before he leaves, I just want to tell him, like, if he's interested in this, I'm kidding you not. What I'm preparing is something that is unprecedented at a scale that has never been done before. It's going to have actual neurologists who were speaking on camera explicitly about Muhammad. There's going to be a panel. There's going to be an ex-Muslim specialist as well in there. So that's an interesting perspective too. We're going to go into a lot of depth. And just to tell you that there's so many references, I have about 200 screenshots to put in there. And just to give you an idea, I found like 30 screenshots of him just fainting. He had a fainting problem, right? And then trembling, there's like 25. Foaming in the mouth, there's like 5 or 6. There's a lot more than, I don't know if this has ever been put out in this form, but it will be very good. But yeah, just I hope you're excited for that.
Yes, I'm absolutely excited. And there's another pathology I would like to discuss with you once I come back.
Yeah, for sure, man. 100%.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye. All right, so I'm going to go next one.
Sorry, my cat's getting in the way here.
Oh, no, it's fine. Okay, Satan urinates in your ears and sleeps in your nose.
Oh, my God.
This is in Bukhari and Muslim. This is the most authentic you can get. According to scholars, they call this agreed upon. Agreed upon means the two big giants of Sunni Hadith corpus both collected and called it Sahih. So it's like super Sahih.
Yeah, super Sahih.
Abdullah bin Masud reported, blah, blah, blah. A man who slept throughout the night till morning, Messenger of Allah remarked, he is a man in whose ears Satan urinated.
I mean, I don't know if he's trying to show this as like a figure of speech or a euphemism for something, but like it's just a weird expression. Like, again, the urine pops up. Why the hell is the urine always going up there? Right? And it's interesting. And if somebody doesn't hear the adhan, back in the day, they didn't have alarm clocks or something, why do you have to say that? Like, I just don't get it. Is there something in Arabic, like the way they spoke, or is there like some sayings like this that are...
Well, it would be an ancient, like, it would probably be a reference.
Yeah, it would be Qurayshi. I wouldn't know about that. No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Satan has a weird interest in like our anatomy, like those alien abduction stories.
Yeah, and the
Why
second
is Satan
one says,
always urinating? And what was that hadith about him farting his way?
and also when one of you wakes up from his sleep, he must blow off his nose 3 times, for Satan spends the night inside one's nostrils. Interesting. That is interesting.
It is a good habit to, like when you wake up, like you clean your nose and stuff, but like you don't have to add that superstitious nonsense layer on it. Like you could just say that because it's a good habit,
Mm-hmm.
But I guess people need a supernatural incentive because the way their minds work. So
Satan needs to cut down on his oil hydration.
Yeah, man. How many people does he piss in every night? Wait, the Surah Kahf says he has an army of, those little genes. So there's like this army of like devils just sitting over people's beds waiting to pee in their ear every morning.
No, they whisper in your ear first. They're like, shh, it's going to be okay. And then
Maybe this is someone...
where Muhammad Hijab gets his golden showers from.
Don't king shame Satan.
Man, it's like when you look into this, it's just like, oh man, it's hilarious.
It's weirdly sexual. I will give it that.
Yeah, that is
Muhammad.
So
that's farting.
You want to? Okay, yeah. So basically, Shaitan. These hadith are well known as like the most bizarrest hadith in Sahih Bukhari. Here's another one that he basically, when the call to prayer is made, he goes flying off in a fart jet, like supersonic, and then he comes back.
Is that
what were they smoking? What were they smoking?
I don't know. Maybe it was the UFOs, with no method of propulsion. They're just going since they're to talk to the town today. But this one I remember, one of the weirdest thing was Dr. Jonathan Brown tried to explain this hadith, right? And he gave this weird explanation that Satan farting is a euphemism for horses farting when they run super fast. So back then they used to use horse and they run fast, they'd fart, something along those lines. Therefore, he's running away fast, not that he's literally farting. But then once it mentions it, he says that he comes back in the masjid and, and then he's trying to distract people while they're praying. Now, what I don't get is if the words of the adhan are making him so scared that he has to run away, how can he come back into the mosque where those same words are almost being repeated in just a slightly different format, and those words suddenly don't affect him? Like the Allahu Akbar in that speaker or the adhan is fine, but when they do this in the salah, it's not going to affect the Satan,
That's a great point.
They actually believe that. If they believe that saying some words will make the shaitan go away, why don't they just play them on a loudspeaker on a loop, like on the streets? Crime would go down.
Can I tell you a story about that? Can I, guys?
Sure.
My friend who was a psychiatrist told me that, I actually helped him with this. We made these little CDs of Surah Baqarah, which he used to give to his clients to play 24/7 in the house because it kept shaitan away. Like, he's like an actual psychiatrist, like a doctor. Mm-hmm. And he thought this was helping his patients, giving them CDs of Surah Baqarah playing. And of course, we couldn't, back in the day, CDs, I don't know if you guys are too young to know this, but there was a limited 74 minutes or maybe 80 minutes per CD, and Surah Baqarah is longer than that. So we had to like speed it up. Like that. But like he said, it's fine. It's still playing Surah Baqarah in your house. So your house will be blessed, right? So this not computer, but like, yeah, I guess you could say this mini device, electronic device, is like basically converting the little dots on the CD player to sounds and broadcasting it to vibrations in the air. And apparently Shaitan doesn't like that or something. It's kind of funny. It's
So
almost like the same issue with.
Sorry, a circuit can do dhikr then. A circuit can read Quran. Who's
Yeah.
taking the hasanat here? The person
wait
who
a
pressed
second.
play?
The AI. What if the AI does it? Wait a second. Now, this is an actual question I just popped in my head. If AI does become conscious, does the AI also get judged by Allah on the Day of Judgment?
Is it per thread? Like per
Well,
each AI?
Hassan Radwan actually asked a similar question about like cavemen, basically proto humans. Should they be judged because the kind of human, like they kind of can think and bashing head, like the Flintstones, they have a club, they hit a guy on the head, they take his woman by the hair and pull it, like those type of humans, like would they be judged like going to heaven and hell? Like do they have like caveman prophets and you know what I mean?
There were like 124,000, so maybe there were Neanderthal prophets, they're Denisovan, they're Homo erectus, Homo habilis, all had their own prophets, man.
I was gonna make a joke and be like, oh, they pray to a stone, like in the primitive times, and I was like, wait a second. Wait a second.
They still do it, man. They just think they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Muhammad's greatest hits: "Beat It," "Careless Whispers," "To the Moon and Back." I drove all night.
On a buraq, yeah.
Let's continue.
The breathing of hell causes winter and summer. Oh boy, it's pretty hot. So let's hear this one. That the messenger of Allah said, "The fire complained to its Lord. It said, 'Some parts of me consume other parts.' So he allowed it to take 2 breaths, one during the winter and during the summer. As for the breath in the winter, then it is zamharid. And as for the breath in the summer, then it is samum." So basically, hell breathes, and that breathing releases hot or cold air, which causes seasons. Now, I don't even know where to begin how freaking wrong this is. Like how the scientific, like the tails of the earth and the rotation and the 2 hemispheres actually have different seasons going on at different times. So I don't know how this will be, like the hell is accompanying, like one hemisphere gets the cold breath, the other one gets the warm one at the same time.
A lot of this would make more sense on a flat earth too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? I was gonna say though, just to be fair, I'm gonna make this point because I don't want someone to say that we're doing something wrong. These hadith are unfalsifiable. Like, let's be clear. Like, what metaphysical heaven and hell, breathing, fighting devils, like, and some of the other ones we're gonna get to as well. They're not like strong points against Islam being false, but they are in summary, in collection, all of them combined do show you how ridiculous and absurd Islam is. Because when you look at everything all together, you start to realize this is coming from a deranged mind. But we're not saying Islam is false because heaven and hell, causes that. That's not even falsifiable. Like that, that could be true. We don't know, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something you can test. But there are other things you can test, which are, obviously false. So Satan sleeping in your nose and stuff like that. We're just showing you how absurd it is to hopefully kind of like kick someone and make them wake up and say, "Whoa, this is what I believe is from God." No, this is not from God. This is from from a strange mind, right?
I have something I want to say about that, by the way. Because I always get people, like, I would make a sketch about whatever verse or whatever situation on TikTok, for example, and people would come up to me and be like, "Do you think that disproves Islam?" I'm like, "Do you think I was trying to disprove Islam in 15 seconds? No. I was trying to make a joke. Like, we're talking about the shaitan farting, and that's what your prophet said. Like, just enjoy the laughs, like, is your defense really that the farts don't bring down my religion? Like, really contextualize it for a second."
Exactly.
Like,
it's like the defense.
What are we reading here? Yeah.
Yeah, like what are we even talking about? Like it just feels so surreal. Something like heaven and hell, breathing, farting devils. Like
okay.
Damn, fever is also due to the heat of hell. There goes
It's an infinite power source. It's a
I don't know. It's
renewable
like what
energy right there.
Nuclear fusion reactor Allah's got up there, man.
Yeah.
Fever is the heat of the hellfire, so abate fever with water. So I don't know what he means here. Like, is like hell like being afflicted upon you with its heat as a punishment or test?
No, I think he's just telling us like there's more of this to come. Like this is just you're feeling the actual effects of the real hell. So that's evidence that there's hell.
Oh, so he's scaring us here.
Mashallah,
I think so. That's just don't quote me on this. We're just
hold on. Stop the show. Someone has a question. Isn't fever just your body raising your body temperature when it attempts to combat pathogenic microorganisms?
Exactly. There's also like we even know like it's
no, brother, sister, whatever it is, it's
your
wrong.
lymph nodes are from hell.
This is not why. Quranic Science 101 comes from hell.
Dr. Zakir Naik, MBBS.
Like one thing I don't get is if he's saying abate fever with water, does that mean you can turn off the hellfire with water as well?
With the biggest river in Jannah. Can I use my river that way? Can I like
firefighters from Jannah? That's a new show.
Remember?
Can I just combine all my tokens for Jannah and like get the biggest river? like cashing out at an arcade, the biggest river, and pour it into hell.
But no, they did that in Surah Araf when those guys in the middle are like tafidu an alayna alal ma, something like that. They pour upon us some water, and the heaven people say no, we cannot, and they just kind of like taunt them that you keep on burning. And I'm like, what the weird torture scene is this, man? Like,
oh yeah, I talked about that verse about the فَالْيَوْمَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنَ الْكُفَّارِ يَضْحَكُونَ, when they're laughing at them. And all the responses were like, well, you laughed at us first, so I'm like, what are you talking about? You're in heaven. How childish is this like playground mentality of you laugh first?
It's
I'm
like
burning,
It's like Allah is like a teenage, immature child who gets like really ticked off and triggered, like Dabu Surah Lahab, and then like all these threats coming up. Like, come on.
He's toxic masculinity, just personified in a god.
Allah is threatening us with fever. That's what hell is, bros. It's not hell. It's fever.
It's COVID. COVID.
Oh boy, Donkey Kong. All right, the Prophet said, isn't he who raises his head before the Imam afraid that Allah may transform his head into that of a donkey, or his figure face into that of a donkey? Okay, this is weird. Like, what?
Wait, I wish you had it in Arabic.
Yeah, because like, look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is alluding again to the Quran, right? Where people were turned into donkeys and apes, swine and apes, basically, right? So this is the same. And I remember he's reading another hadith about looking up to the sky and Allah will snatch away your sight.
Eyes as well,
I never really got that. Like, I don't get the point of that.
Wait, 1 second. It says here, who lifts his head before the Imam. Does that mean during prayer? Like before the Imam is done? Okay.
Yeah, like you're too fast to get up.
And God makes your head like a donkey.
What kind of it's weird. Like
maybe that's how we got the Egyptian gods, like back in the day, like the cat face.
It's weird that Muhammad fixates and picks on an animal. The braying of the ass is the worst voice that Allah has created. Then there's, if you look up in prayer, you get turned into a donkey. But then he also would ride a donkey everywhere in the hadith, right? Muhammad
maybe it's one of the Sahaba who looked up too quickly.
There's a story in Sirah ibn Kathir, I remember. I don't know if it's Sahih or not, but the talking donkey, Khaybar. Muhammad had a conversation with the donkey.
Maybe it's one of the Sahaba. Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, man.
This is the next one I was just thinking
exactly, yeah. I'll let Aladdin read this one.
Okay.
Okay. The Prophet said, what is wrong with these people who look towards the sky during the prayer? I don't know. They're meditating, dude. His thought grew stern. Why does he have such an issue with it? Like God is up there, right?
Yeah.
Don't look at his eyes directly. Is he autistic or something?
Okay, that's not nice. That's mean.
No, it's
not to
I'm
think so.
serious. Like, is he uncomfortable with eye contact? Is what I meant. This is not a dig at any group of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Anyway, his thought
Apologize
grew
for that.
stern while delivering his speech, and he said they should stop looking towards the sky during the prayer. Otherwise, their eyesight would be taken away. Yeah, you were talking about this, like the violence, but like otherwise, I'm gonna come for you. Hell is gonna come for you. Yeah,
Like, this guy doesn't leave like torture and threats out anywhere. Like, he's like, you're gonna get tortured in the grave. You take a piss the wrong way, you go to grave, you get tortured. You look up, your eyes are gone. You look up again.
This is like this is like a parent that doesn't know how to parent his kids. Like I'm gonna you're gonna get this like every little thing. I'm gonna like beat you senseless. Or if you go, someone's gonna kidnap. That some parents.
Yeah. If you
lie
eat
to the
food
kids.
before you go into the pool, like you're gonna die. That kind of stuff.
They make up stuff to scare the kids because they don't know how to parent properly. Like I don't lie to my kids like that. Like I tell them straight up, honest truth, and that's it. And I treat them like adults. And obviously to some extent, I don't tell them everything, but this is just like, you don't know how to be a leader if you're doing this. This is just, but like at some point, wouldn't the companions be like, this doesn't happen? Like this never happened yet. Like, okay, is it gonna happen?
Maybe he's just staring at the sun for too long, and he's like, I did that once.
Okay, so this was really funny. We're talking about the donkey thing. There's a hadith that says, I saw the messenger of Allah praying on a donkey while he was facing Khaybar. So the guy was sitting on a donkey while praying. But then he's always telling us, wait a second, the braying of the ass is the worst voice Allah created, right?
Yeah.
So what if Muhammad's praying and the donkey starts braying? It's just, this guy was like,
that'll be very peeved by it, I suppose.
But yeah, all right. Oh, I think we lost Amir. I guess he'll be back. Oh,
All
you know
let's
what
take
I
over
will
his
do?
camera.
Oh,
No,
there
he's
he
back.
is.
All right, never mind.
I'm here. Okay, sorry.
Nothing.
Okay.
Giant oak tree in heaven. Okay, so we know like trees have like this attachment with mythology where the tree of life and stuff come up, and there's like the low tree, the Sidratul Muntaha, but the trees has these colors fluttering out of it in heaven, and it goes from the seventh heaven or the sixth heaven into the end or something like that. But anyways, this one's different. In paradise, there is a tree under the shadow of which a rider can travel for 100 years without covering the distance completely. And then this hadith, blah, blah, blah. In paradise, there's a tree under which a rider of a fine and swift-footed horse, so it's the best horse, will travel for 100 years without covering the distance completely. So I'm just trying to do the math in my head right now. Okay, if we calculate the rough speed of the best horse we have per second or kilometers per hour. Yeah, and then times that by 24, times that by how many days in a year, times that by 100 years. Holy shit, this how big is this tree?
You know what this reminds me of? You know that story of the giant, when they plant the two seeds and then the tree goes up to giant heaven or something.
Oh yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah,
yeah, the Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, that's what this reminds me of.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh, maybe Adam will be up there, and like all the giant prophets are up there.
So they need giant trees to chill under.
Yeah, they need giant trees.
I'm just gonna read some of the comments. What about the shoes of fire that'll boil the brain? Yeah, apparently that's the least punishment in hellfire, right?
Yeah, so if they'll boil the brain, they'll probably boil and burn everything else on the way till the heat kind of reaches up to that point, right? So it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. That is weird, actually. That's a good point. That's a good point. Why the brain? Like, what about the rest of the body?
Heat rises. It'll travel up the body. If the source is at the feet, the feet are going to burn first. And
the blood is going to go up there. Yeah.
The blood.
It's like reverse of like water cooling computers. It's the opposite.
It's like
yeah.
I mean, instead of just putting like shoes and slippers, why can't Allah make the brain just bubble without the shoes?
So for theatrics, he's a very theatrical man. Yeah, he's dramatic.
So the next comment says, for the God that supposedly created an entire universe, he sure is obsessed with very odd details about the featherless bipeds on a large rock spinning around a star. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
It's just like bizarrely like. Okay, now back to the looking at the sky. Your eye will shoot laser to the sky. Like,
Or like the guy from X-Men, if he takes his glasses off, the red things come out.
That's how he split the moon. He was looking at the moon and it just like cracked it in half.
oh, wait, this is
man.
interesting. This is an interesting comment. The brain doesn't have pain receptors.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
If-
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
also the concept of phantom limb where people are having pain in limbs that don't exist. Right? So it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's make no sense whatsoever.
Okay. Allah has a jail.
Oh boy.
Okay, so this is a famous hadith. Everyone knows that in Ramadan, basically Allah. Okay, I'll just read it. When the first night of Ramadan comes, Satan's and mischievous jinns are chained up. Gates of fire are closed, and none of its gates are opened. And the gates of paradise are open, and none of its gates are closed. So basically, in Ramadan, apparently, I mean, now again, do we want to take this as allegorical, literal? It depends, right? Literally, it makes no sense because a lot of crime and stuff still happens in Ramadan. Even allegorically, there's still, I guess Muslims do less crime in Ramadan because they're busy with other things. Is that even true? I've heard the opposite. I've heard there's more fighting, there's more tempers being, flared.
It depends.
I mean, I don't know if you want to count that as crime, but I'm sure like crime does go down because people are too hungry and tired, and like maybe they're even scared. Like they think it counts more during Ramadan.
Yeah.
Like it's worse. Al-Ashhur al-Haram, you can't do that. So maybe that's why.
Yeah. But it's just weird. Like it would make the whole concept of Satan is weird, right? Like there's the nafs, there's the good nafs, the bad nafs. There's like there's cells inside you, and they have different trajectories or many personalities. I mean,
What about people with like multiple personalities? Do
I
they
know,
have,
right?
like,
Like
multiple copies like of a bad nafs and nafs al-amara bis-su' for each single personality.
exactly.
Yeah.
But you think about it from the psychological or scientific, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
None of it does.
Right. Okay. Oh yeah, another famous Bukhari hadith.
Oh my God, the infamous camel urine.
Yeah, this hadith is bad in two different ways. One way is that the climate of Medina did not suit some people. So this is actually known as part of the seerah, that when they moved from Makkah to Medina, a lot of them had health issues. So it was difficult for them, right? So the Prophet ordered them to follow his shepherd. So I guess a bunch of people came and were complaining to the Prophet. I don't think they were from Medina. They're from outside, right? And so he ordered them to follow his shepherd, drink the milk and urine. So they followed the shepherd, that is the camels, and drank the milk and urine until their bodies became healthy. I'm pretty sure the bodies would have got healthy much faster if they didn't drink urine.
Yeah.
Then they killed the shepherd and drove away the camels. When the news reached the Prophet, now this part is also bad. He sent some people in pursuit, and he cut off the hands and feet, and the eyes were branded with heated pieces of iron. Ooh, that was quite a harsh punishment.
The worst thing about this hadith is the apologetics that I've heard. Like I've lost hope in a lot of people hearing what they had to say about this, because once you've gotten to a point of justifying torture, like I don't know if I can trust you as a person anymore. Whatever logic you took to reach there, like I've heard I don't know what you guys heard. Like what is the excuse for this? I'll let you go first.
So I've heard one excuse, which is that there's a type of hormone taken from the urine of horses that when it's used, it can actually benefit in some way or something. But the point that they're missing...
No, I was talking about the torture, sorry.
Oh.
That's what was on my mind, yeah.
The point they're missing about the camel urine thing is like urine as a whole, with all of its impurities and toxins and everything, is bad. It's possible that some animals could have certain things you could extract out, and that. But yes, in regard to the second part of the hadith, I've heard that they took advantage and they killed his people, so this was a punishment, and he just wanted to make sure that nobody else would do this ever again to any of his companions. So he made an example out of them.
Yeah,
but that's when they say that's very dangerously close to what other organizations are doing these days, like without naming any names.
Yeah.
ISIS.
The Egyptian god ISIS. I'm talking about the Egyptian god, man.
Like, aren't there verses about crucifixion as well? Like, I remember that was one of the excuses given for crucifixion. I remember reading an explanation that said it's to scare other people, so that it's a warning basically to the other people. So if Muhammad did this as a warning and crucifixion as a warning, so we're justifying torture to scare people. Like, there's a word for that I don't want to say on live stream, but
Ad blocker detected. Okay,
Oh,
and I
I
have something to share as well. Actually, I just want to. This is what I was thinking of. I was thinking of this article on Wiki Islam that actually mentioned that increases in blood crimes and thefts were observed during Ramadan, and they have references actually for all of these. Ramadan saw a rise in violent crime. Daily News Egypt, director of Jakarta's police crime unit, said that they need to be alert as crimes tended to increase during the fasting month, especially robberies. Right, this was in the Jakarta Globe 2009. This is interesting examples. I don't want to generalize and say this applies to all countries. I will tell you one story about Ramadan in Egypt, which is when I was in Egypt. I went to Egypt for a short amount of time, and I saw people getting into fist fights on the street during Ramadan. I didn't see it outside of Ramadan. In Ramadan specifically, I saw fights from my balcony in my apartment. So I think anyways, yeah, I think it does cause a lot of issues. I don't know why we're talking about this. What was the main point we were?
Shaitan being locked up.
Oh yeah, Shaitan being locked up. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So this debunks, like, how do you want to interpret that? However you want to interpret
No, it's a nafs al-ammara bis-su'. That's
It's still
That's enough.
people's bad. So here's the thing: even though Satan's locked
Hangry.
up because they're dehydrated. Yeah, exactly. They're hangry. Coming back to the camel.
This is a great point. Oh yeah, you want me to share your screen after I
Yeah.
read the comment?
Yeah, read the comment first.
Okay, hell in Islam doesn't seem too efficient. I feel like an omniscient God could think of better ways to make humans feel pain in boiling water. Even
He could
efficiency.
put us in a
terms-
VR. He could just put VR on us and 2 probes, and like he's torturing us.
Yeah,
We're done.
I think it's the incentive or the goal isn't to like torture us efficiently, is to torture us in the most theatrical way to scare us, right? That's the point.
That's a great point. Yeah, and the
you know
whole
like
thing.
that boiling pot, like that trope in cartoons, like jump into the boiling pot kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what God
It's
is
literally
trying to do.
Allah will pour the boiling oil on their heads, and that will cause their bowels to blow up. Is this the worst, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
But anyways, talking about camel urine, why that's a bad advice? Because Muhammad was literally being stupid when he gave that advice. Because according to the World Health Organization, MERS is caused or has been transmitted by camel urine, and you can
What's
see
MERS?
the headline: Middle Eastern Respiratory
Middle Eastern
Syndrome.
respiratory
Funny
So it's
enough,
kind of like
it's-
SARS or COVID. Even.
It's a novel coronavirus, so it's one of the variant types. So camel urine can make it worse. Stop drinking it. And it's actually mentioned that it straight up says it's consumed in some parts of the Middle East for its allegedly palliative property. And I mean, you can see it's like everywhere. You can look it up. MERS, camel urine will pop up. But yeah, I just wanted to share that it's just terrible advice. Like, it's unhealthy, unhygienic, and Muslims should stop trying to diss on Hindu people because they're for drinking cow urine, because they're doing the other opposite. It's the camel urine. And I kid you not, you can literally go on YouTube and you'll find these Salafi guys going to Hajj, and then they're like groups of these, and they'll be from the US. They're like for Western Muslims drinking camel urine, and Saudi Arabia, man. They sell it in bottles, like packaged bottles, like the shops dedicated to camel urine. I'm not.
And,
I just can't imagine. They're like, cheers to that, bro. Clink. Like,
I remember reading somewhere. I think this was a camel urine issue, or was it a cow urine? I don't know. One of the two, where the shopkeeper was arrested because he was selling his own urine.
oh God.
So he was like, he wasn't even bothering
Oh,
to go to
God.
whether it was a cow or the camel. He's just like, do free money. I got these clowns buying from me.
Like,
Abdullah,
dude, they're actually like brands and shit of camel
Guys,
urine. No, I gotta share this.
Can
screen,
you
man.
imagine them going to like an Islamic pub, right? And they have like a big mug of like Zamzam water with a little shot of camel urine, and they just like clink and they let it fall.
I mean, look at this. They're like brands. Like they said, this is the video I've seen, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. Drinking.
Like, anyway, I'll stop sharing it now, but yeah, you get the point. There, it's
Yeah, I just want to be fair and tell everybody that I don't know anyone who drinks camel urine. Let's be fair.
Let's make that clear.
Weird AF hadith.
Yeah.
Nobody.
This is not a diss about Muslims.
Yeah.
This is not a diss about Muslims. It's just
I know of a few people who did it.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not gonna name names because obviously there was a student, well, like not a student group, it's a pretty prominent Pakistani group, and like there's obviously Salafi leaning, and some guys were very Salafi leaning, going to Medina University and all that stuff. So they obviously came back really proud that they accomplished the sunnah, and but yep, that's where it is. Royalty.
So,
that was the
I'm sorry to say your friends are more backward than my Muslim friends.
Bro, my friends are in Pakistan, so you gotta
that's true. I feel like the Muslims in Canada are a little bit different. They're not gonna do that. It's just like they might justify it and like argue against you when you say that it's bad, but they'll never themselves do it.
Yeah,
like I wonder if Ali Dawah type personality, like if someone forced him to drink it, maybe he would. Like that would be like a good social experiment.
Let's do this. Let's start making it trending on Twitter. Muslim camel urine challenge or TikTok.
No, I don't want to. The reason I don't like this camel urine thing is because it's all too quickly used as a racial, almost like a bigoted slur against Muslims. Oh, you camel drinkers! Like it's the
like
first
the
most
drinker,
it's the most easiest thing to use against Muslims, and it's like nobody I know ever did that, and a couple of people, but I mean, like a couple of people, but but yeah, like in terms of making a point, if we could do it without being like getting to the level of some of these people. Do you really believe your prophet? We should call it, do you really believe your prophet challenge? But I'm worried some people might actually drink it. And like, what's the net benefit then? Well, actually making people sick, right?
The poison challenge, like a lot of Christians try to do it, like even believe in Jesus. And who was that guy? Salah Rashid was trying to drink the poison in a debate, like very recent.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He drank a bottle apparently in a debate with some Christian guy to prove that Islam is true and Christianity is false. It happened in the UK live on camera.
What an idiot. Sorry to say it. That is so dumb. Oh my God. Okay, anyways, again, I just gonna be clear one more time, guys. Don't bring up camel piss drinking. It's so like petty and vulgar, and this is just one of the examples. We're not like, we have other things too, right? That's why we brought this is in there. But don't use this. This doesn't work against Muslims. It's just gonna cause them to shut down and say like, you guys are just like making fun of us now, and you're not really interested in dialogue. There's so many more. There's so many other things you can bring up, right?
Yeah, but what we're doing is kind of like doing the same thing. Oh, it was a fake? Okay.
He brought it with him, right? Like Asrar brought it with him, I believe.
Okay, so it was a fake, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fake poison or a fake clip?
Fake poison. I have the video. It's February.
He drank fake poison to prove his prophet.
Oh my God.
The dates thing. It was about the dates thing, I think.
The seven dates. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I've spoken about this hadith before, by the way, the urine one, and I speak about the second half of the hadith is what I'm trying to speak about.
Yeah.
And people would come to defend the hadith, saying urine has these good properties, and I'm like, that's Habibi, that's not the point. I'm not even talking about the urine. Leave that aside. That's just funny, but yeah.
Another thing, like this comes up, and this might come up again with the fly dipping hadith, is they'll take these obscure researches that are done with a huge bias by some of the Muslim researchers in like University of Iran or something.
In Saudi universities.
Yeah,
too.
and what they were doing was they were looking at the urine and they were isolating a compound, purifying the compound, and then seeing its effects on it. But they weren't like just dropping urine everywhere. And the ones they did that, they saw that it was toxic towards biological cells if you just put unpurified urine on shit. It's not good as a thing to consume. And we also saw from like the MERS being caused by it and whatnot. Anyways, enough camel urine medicine.
yeah, and that's what I was saying about like there's all sorts of things in medicine that like sometimes unconventional, even that the one about the horse urine that I told you that there's a certain hormone, I think it's like an estrogen or something, like replacement therapy or something. They don't even use that anymore. Now they just use like an artificial one. Mm-hmm. But there's even another even more strange cure for some people that there was an example of a lady I saw in a documentary that she had this she got sick. She got really sick, and she had like massive diarrhea to the point that she was gonna die. And guess how they made her better? They took some feces from a healthy person, and they put it inside her. And the bacteria, the healthy bacteria, her bacteria levels were all screwed up in an intestine. So this actually made her better. So like that doesn't mean you go and eat shit. Okay, like,
Exactly.
I mean, like have some nuance here, right? And here, Beach. Thank you, Beach. This is what I was trying to say. Pregnant male urine for insulin. So there is, but that's not the same thing as camel urine, right? Anyways, I think, like you said, we've.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Like in human history, people in different regions of the world have experimented with different peas, and some of them are good, but some of them aren't.
All right, next one.
Chickens can see angels, donkeys can see Satan. So KFC is halal. But donkey meat is not. The Prophet said, when you hear the crowing of the roosters, then ask Allah of his bounty, for verily they have seen an angel. When you hear the braying of a donkey, then seek refuge, for verily it has seen a shaitan. So why is Muhammad riding on top of an animal that's braying all the time and he's seeing Satan? I don't get it.
It's a radar. It's a warning system. It's a warning system. When he makes a noise.
Oh, he knows the shaitan's around. Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, this is so cool.
What about like donkeys braying?
The Satan detector.
What if the animal's just excited or aroused or something? Like, why does it have to be that he detected the presence of an invisible thing?
You know, this now that I'm thinking, this guy was completely nuts. The babies cry because Satan is pinching newborn babies. This guy's braying the donkey.
Giving them a purple nipple.
Like, what is this guy's head like? Chickens are seeing angels.
Here's another one. Like, imagine donkey's hungry, and he's like, "Shut up, donkey! Stop making noise." It's like you're getting devils here. It's like, what if it's hungry? Like, it's just like, like you said, if it's like excited.
This is some really dumb shit, man.
Next one.
Yawning is from Satan, and if anyone of you yawns, you should check his yawning. For if any one of you during yawning say, "Ha," Satan will laugh at you.
What?
Just let him laugh. Like,
it's saying if you say "oh" like that, is that what it means?
Yeah.
When you go, oh.
Wait, no, guys. I know there's a hadith that says if you yawn with your without covering it, Satan's gonna pee in your mouth.
Yep. No, he's gonna go in your mouth.
Okay.
He doesn't pee in your mouth. Goes in your mouth. The pee is for the fajr.
Something like it's.
I can't believe you said that with a straight face.
Sorry.
Like, no. The pee is about something else.
I just, like Satan must laugh a whole lot. Fuck, there's everybody doing some weird shit, so he's always laughing.
he's peeing and laughing and peeing.
We should make a music video. Shaitan laughing. We're all like yawning. And there's like devils laughing.
Like, why do I care if the devil's laughing at me? I can't even hear him. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Think about what Satan is. Like, okay, Satan shits, he pees, he farts. He has a digestive system because he eats dung in his bones. He laughs, so he probably has a mouth and vocal cords. He can. What else can he do?
What can't he do?
Yeah,
what can't he do? Yeah, someone said earlier that Satan is playing God mode or something. It's kind of true, isn't it?
Cheat codes.
He has all these powers.
And the Hadith say he travels in your body like blood, so he can basically influence you like spiritually from afar, or kind of possess you.
Me? Like, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that.
With what?
Satan being inside our blood, like flowing through our veins. But then Allah is also like that too, right? That's interesting.
Bro,
he's everywhere.
Allah is predicting nanobots. You know the little robots that go inside your blood and they cure you for diseases. They clean your fat and from your cholesterol. Shaitan is a nanotechnology as predicted in the Quran 1400 years ago.
Oh my God!
It's all aliens. It's all aliens all the way down.
Okay, so there's a kind of we should talk about this, I guess, if you want. What do you guys have to say about the Molvi XX videos coming out? Do you know about these things?
So I have heard of these. I've seen a few, and it's from Pakistan. It's happening quite a lot. I mean, when I was growing up in Pakistan, by the way, I stayed for the first 19 years of my life there. Um, and I was very frequent in mosques and stuff. And this is a very, very common stereotype where this thing happens. It's a more common stereotype that happens more in the northwestern part of Pakistan. There is a Vice documentary about this. It's the word for it's called Bachabazi. The Vice documentaries talks about these religious people, and there's also another problem with these truck drivers as well. But yeah, it's in madrasas. What's
But
happening
the
is
Bachabazi is Afghani cultural thing, but this is like specifically happening
it's
in the
leaked.
mosques,
Yeah,
right?
it's leaked into. It's more prominent and more common in the northwestern Pakistani province that borders Afghanistan. But no, there's mosques and these people who live in like Islamabad. I've seen too. Like so, basically, the madrasa system, to give you a good synopsis, like the ones I've seen, okay, the ones I had first-hand experience with. These kids will be from Kashmir or like some remote village in northern Pakistan from very poor families, and their parents can't afford to feed them, so that's why they're being sent to these madrasas. Most of this.
Oh,
And when these kids come here, they don't see their family just once a year for Eid. And some of them don't even get to do that. They see them once, twice every few years, like something like that. So yeah, these kids are like as young as 6, and they range to like teens or even early 20s. If a guy wants to do hifz of the Quran, they're trying to do hifz. They get up early morning all day. They just do that. And I used to play with these kids sometimes, like soccer, because like I used to live nearby. And they'd come play on the same ground. But yeah, there are stories like that, and some kids have brought up these kind of things where their teachers showed them
sexually abused.
In Pakistan, the thing is the people that are doing it are not just the small cleric, the local cleric in the mosque. No, these are like political figureheads. Like, to give you an idea, imagine like Ravi Zachariah level, kind of like equivalent of
Wow.
Pakistan. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. So it's basically the same kind of like Christian Catholic church kind of scandal where they're raping little boys.
Yeah.
And yeah, it happens a lot in mosques, and unfortunately it is very common. It is very known. Nothing happened with me, nor was I a witness to anything directly. But I definitely heard stories.
And she's saying also an interesting thing is the men as old as the 20s, which is kind of weird, right? Because the Bachabazi thing is with young boys, right?
Well, exactly. The thing is with older men, it's because like the society in Pakistan is so weirdly segregated and overly, because it's so hyper segregated. Men become these sexual lustful animals because they never lay an eye on a fucking woman, so they have to get it out somewhere. And I mean, it's not uncommon. You look at history, like when big armies would go in the past, like Alexander's army and Roman armies, shit happened between soldiers, right? So but yeah, it's happening a lot in Pakistan, and it's sad, but it needs to be stopped. Like it's alarming at the rate that it's been a few years. These videos keep coming out, and yeah, it's very, very messed up. My experiences are because I was living in the northwestern part of the country for most of my life, or the northern part, Islamabad and up. So I can only speak for that region, but yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So continue with the slides. Do you want to add any? Well, yeah, you're not Pakistani, so you wouldn't know. I don't know anything about this either. Okay. Yeah. So chess is now this one is kind of weird. Oh, it says okay. He who played Na Dash, a game similar to backgammon, is like one who died. Okay, I was confused about this when I heard this as a younger man, because I thought it was backgammon. I'm like, did that exist back then? I heard someone saying chess is haram, like. And so it's he who played this game, this little game with little things, is like one who dyed his hand with the flesh and blood of swine. Is there some sort of gambling involved? I know backgammon is not usually, there's no gambling.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is it so severe, the punishment?
I honestly don't know. Maybe it has to do something with the game of the kuffar, but I definitely see that gambling was involved in like loot dice games and stuff, right? So I know there's fatwas for that. But again, there are actually
guys, it could be just as simple as like it's a time waster. Like if
but there's hadith where they broke. They did go into people's houses and break these boards and stuff because they were. Wait, I'll try to find it, but Yeah, I posted about it. I don't know if I can find it right now.
That's okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's just about wasting time. It's more mind control, right? Like, again, it's like, okay, if you want to encourage people to not play as much, that's one thing. But to like threaten them with like, what?
Oh,
like,
there you go.
you found
a
it?
good one. Yeah, here. This one's from Muatta Malik, so very reliable. And it says, Yahya related from Malik, blah, blah, blah. That when he found one of his family playing dice, he beat him and destroyed the dice.
Wow.
Yahya said that he heard Malik say there's no good in chess, and he disapproved of it. I heard it disapprove of playing it and other worthless games.
Oh, yeah.
And then the worst, what is there after the truth? What? How does that make sense? But yeah, like they're beating people up for playing board games and destroying dice. Like,
yeah, that was so people who don't know, that was Muwatta of Imam Malik. So he's like, yeah, that's the earliest collection, but that's not what Muhammad said, right? Just to be clear, that's what Imam Malik was doing.
He says here that this is from Nafi, from Abdullah ibn Omar. So Abdullah ibn Omar, the son of Omar, is beating up his family.
Oh, geez. Yeah. These the Omar family loves.
They're all nuts.
They love beating women, beating the family members, beating the daughters, and oh my god. Okay.
All right, sweat is perfume. See, this is an interesting one where like he'd be sleeping and like these people would huddle around him and like take his sweat and then put it in bottles and then rub his sweat on their own bodies, thinking it smelled like a musk. Weird, like just straight up freaking weird. It's considering that the other hadith that talk about those spit rubbing in the face and chest.
What's with Muhammadan bodily fluids? Like all of them. Whatever bodily fluid, there's a hadith about it. It's weird.
It's also weird that this was, I guess the reason they preserved this hadith was because they wanted to say this was a miracle.
There's actually like, I remember there's a hadith where it says that the Sahaba, one of the slaves of Muhammad, ate his poop at the middle of the night.
What?
Yeah. It was a blog. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'll try to find it, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to stay away from the hadiths about the his blood and his whatever, but these ones I've heard a lot about his spit and his sweat like being special.
Yeah.
Those ones I'm pretty sure are mainstream. Like everyone knows about those.
Yeah. The Sufis, of course, they go next level with Muhammad, right? Like they'll take his hair and they claim to have his hair and his shoes and his sandals and all of this stuff, and they like venerate it, right? They almost worship it. They take some sort of blessings from all of these things, eh?
Yeah, and also like even like recently there's these guys in Pakistan, they were sitting on stage, those guys, the blasphemy guys, and they were openly saying that we would love to eat the poop of Muhammad, like just sitting and explicitly yet chanting. It's on Twitter, their videos, just I want to eat his poop, I want to be his dog, I want to be his shoe. It's this weird erotic sense of devotion towards him. Oh, I found the Ibn Kathir version of the pee drinking one actually. I'll quickly share it just for those interested why this weird obsession with pee for Muhammad. So here he says Hafiz Abu Yala goes on, okay, the messenger of God had a pottery bowl into which he would urinate. When morning came, he would call out, Ayman, pour out the contents of the pot. One night I got up feeling thirsty and drank what it contained. The messenger called out, Ayman poured the contents. I replied, I got up thirsty, drank it. He's commented, you will never suffer from your stomach. Subhanallah. And this is from Sirah al-Nabawi. I have the original PDF. I don't want to go looking through volume 4 of it. Yeah, I read it though.
Wow.
And there's another one where it says,
is this an Islamic post page?
Yeah.
Jeez.
This one is in Dalail al-Nabuwa, actually, by
Wait, one second. So that caption right there is not ironic. Muhammad's urine made water sweet and cool. That's not an ironic caption.
No.
This is someone sincerely wrote that.
Can you send me the link?
Yeah, man. Like here, but it's written by somebody called Sarah, and she's got her hair covered. So I'll send you the link, man.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
so
sharing this. Yeah, like it's just bizarre. Like these people are eating and drinking his poop and urine.
I mean, let's just presume like his stuff was special. Why would Allah make it happen this way? Like,
yeah, like it's like every cult leader's narcissistic dreamland happening right now, where people are literally rubbing your shit on their faces. Yeah.
I don't know. There's no hadith like that where they did that.
Oh, there are where they're rubbing the spit and chest.
Oh, the spit, but not the poop.
Not the poop, no, but she ate it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Oh God. Anyway, let's stop talking about his body and his product of his body.
Okay, spinning on left side aids with bad dreams. Prophet said a good dream comes from Allah. Wait, a good dream that comes true is from Allah. Okay. And the bad dream.
He scapegoats every single time.
I know. I was just like, I had to read that again. I'm like, oh, okay, if it comes true. And a bad dream is from Satan.
It's like a child like wrote this like like what the hell, man?
Yeah.
The good guy is good. The bad guy is bad. Yeah.
The good guy is good if he helps you. Then he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And if anyone sees a bad dream, he should seek refuge with Allah from Satan, and he should spit on the left, for the bad dream will not harm him.
I don't want to spit in my house.
Well, some scholars say this is like dry spit, like you're just blowing.
What does that do?
I don't know. It keeps away the Satans.
I know, because the Satan was sleeping in your mouth. Maybe you got your brain that caused the dream, so you spit it out. I'm just trying to connect the dots, I guess, what's going on in that guy's head.
Next slide.
Okay. We have like 20 more to go. I think we can finish and get to the 100 mark.
Oh, yeah. What are we on right now? What number is this?
80, I think.
Okay.
79.
So, evil eye. Okay, I'll just read it. The influence of an evil eye is a fact. If anything would precede the destiny, it would be the influence of an evil eye. And when you are asked to take a bath as a cure from the influence of an evil eye, you should take a bath. This is like witchcraft, man.
It's witchcraft. It's like you know when you get like, throw those priests, they come, they throw the holy water and they make the cross with the sprinkles. It's like that.
Well, it doesn't explicitly say who tells you to take a bath. Like it says,
I remember
I think the prophet told you or something.
There's the full version where this guy's like, he's very beautiful. The Sahabi takes off his shirt and his skin is very white like a virgin. So another Sahabi compliments him and he falls. And then they're like, yo, this guy just fell and they carry him to Muhammad. So he's like, yeah, pour water on him. He'll wake up. And they did that and that cured his evil eye. Yeah, man. It's just the weirdest shit ever happens.
I mean, I think the reason for that is because Muhammad was trying to curb jealousy or something like that. Like he was probably trying to keep his soldiers from like envying each other and causing fighting amongst each other, right? So that's probably, it's just so stupid that it's so superstitious. Like it's so idiotic. It's so idiotic.
I mean, let's say God is just speaking their language, right? Like that's just how they convey the information to primitive people. Does God not understand that we would find it suspicious and not believe it anymore today? Like he would make an exception for us. He'd be like, okay, guys, I get it. It sounds very silly. So yeah.
I want to talking about the bath thing. This one's really interesting, this hadith. And this one goes about an incident. And this somebody else has to take a bath on somebody else's behalf to get the evil. It's just, let's read it.
I love how you search for evil eye bath. It's like evil eye bath.
I swear by God. So one guy was taking a bath, you know, it's just bros to taking a shower together, holding hands. And this one guy's like, I swear by God that I have seen no skin to compare with that, what I have seen today. Not even that of a secluded girl. Sahel fell to the ground and people went to God's messenger and said to him, "Oh messenger, can you do anything for this dude? We swear by God that he cannot raise his head." He asked if they suspected anyone, and when they replied that they suspected Amir bin Rabla, oh, they have a suspect? Damn. Okay, that was quick.
It's getting more interesting.
The quote of Muhammad. He cast evil eye on me. Suspect number one. How do you plead? Not guilty,
Did you
Your Honor.
have a thought crime? Did you think a thought crime about this guy?
Bring the witnesses. Bring the witnesses. Witness number one. He looked at me when I took my shirt off. Witness number 2. Yeah, I saw the guy. He was talking about how beautiful his wife was, and next thing you know, his wife fell down dead. Like
No,
what?
the guy just fell down. This is all like dudes.
No, I know. I'm just making up another story. I mean, that's what could happen, right? Because if you
Yeah.
cast evil eye on someone, you cause harm to them.
All right. God's messenger summoned Amir and speaking roughly to him. So he knew that this guy was causing some shit. I don't know. He's got magic eyes, man. I wish I had that power, like psychic. So he said, "Why does one of you kill his brother? Why did you not invoke a blessing? Bathe
Because the
on his
blessing
behalf.
undoes it. Like the blessing
If you
undoes
say
the evil eye.
mashallah, no evil eye
Yeah,
happens,
okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
then he
that's
says-
good. Eh? Yeah.
Bathe on his behalf." Now, this doesn't make any sense. the what? The instigator causing the evil eye taking a bath. Amr then washed on his behalf his face, hands, elbows, knees. It's like that song, head, shoulder, knees, and toes.
This was the first ever video I made on YouTube was about evil eye, because I
Oh,
found
man.
it so ridiculous. It was just like, yeah, such a cringe video. If you watch it, it's like so bad. I was just like trying to learn how. I had the camera. I think even the camera was like up the long. I wasn't even widescreen. It was just. And I want to share one thing once you're done. Go ahead and finish this. And then
I'm
we'll-
just baffled what I just read. I'm just kind of trying to make sense of it on my own. Amr then washed on his behalf, and it goes on. He washed inside his lower garment as well. Then collected the same water that he'd already washed it in a vessel and poured it over him. So he washes himself with it. And it mentions a detail like inside his undergarments. And then he collects all that dirty water that washed the evil eye off of him and pours it onto the unconscious dude.
How explicit can I be about describing this? Like, he washed
What is
his
this?
nether regions with water, and then he poured it on him, and that woke him up.
I mean, what the hell? And then Imam
Why do I
Malik,
care about his thighs or his nether regions being involved in
Yeah.
this? Like,
well, Imam Malik is like going about on and on that,
in another
it's
version,
true. Yeah. But damn, this is just some weird ass shit, man.
So I'm gonna share my screen because I just want to make this clear that this is in the Quran, right? And from the evil of an envy of any envies, eh?
Mhm.
وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ. This is in the Quran. So a lot of times people say, haha, you idiots are making fun of Hadith. No, well, a lot of this actually goes back to Quran.
well,
It's
and the
not
verse
only
before
Hadith.
it, that's black magic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Black magic, evil eye, and hey Jimmy, nice to see you. Shout out to Jimmy Bangash, our favorite gem, gay ex-Muslim. Love him so much.
Nice.
Yeah, these guys are having fun, man. I'm so jealous.
Crossing your fingers negates the effect of evil eye. I see a lot of cultural.
Hey, nice
maybe
car.
Aladdin, you can tell me about this. You might know more about this. This blue and white eye thing. I don't know. I see a lot of
Mhm.
Arabs have it in the houses. It protects you from
I've
evil
seen
eye.
it, like, I've been to Turkey and I've seen it a lot there, and it's more superstition. It's supposed to protect you from evil eye, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people simultaneously, like, they'd either put it on like it's kind of like a horoscopes thing, Like some people have it just for fun, and others actually believe that it's for the evil eye.
Yeah.
But it's not supposed to be Islamic.
Just
I don't think so.
Just another thing before we move on from the evil eye. We're talking about magic. I
Yeah.
had just this one hadith, or Muhammad's wife, Mata Malik, that they would just kill people suspected of magic and witchcraft, the same way the church did. And you see here, Hafsa, the wife of the Prophet, killed one of her slave girls who had used sorcery against her. She was a
How do you
mudabbara.
prove that? How do you prove that?
You can't. And that's the thing. Muhammad's wife just killed this lady. Probably had a petty argument or something silly. But what it says next is mudabbara. Now, if I'm not mistaken, mudabbara means somebody that's promised to be released or something.
No, 1 second.
Something like that.
Mudabbara? Wait, where are you reading this? Which line? She was a mudabbara. Okay, Hafsa gave her the order. Let me read it in Arabic. Continue. I'll read it.
Yeah. And then Hafsa gave the order and she was killed. And then Malik said the sorcerer is the one who uses sorcery for himself. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, and it should be killed. Basically, that's what this says. But it's just like, yeah, like I said, like the superstitious thinking leads to straight up cold-blooded murder by somebody very close to Muhammad. In fact, the daughter of Omar, right? Second caliph and Muhammad's wife, Hafsa. She's just killing her slave girl. It's sad.
I'm trying to understand what that word means in that context, but it means like planning or cunning.
Okay.
Yeah. So
from what I remember,
in the context though, it might have a different kind of meaning.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was something interesting.
So we've been going on for 95 minutes now. Should we let's just close up, I think. I think there's still a bunch of slides. I don't want to rush
slides,
through them. Yeah, no, we definitely don't want to rush through that.
Yeah.
Better that we take time and we do it in detail because there's a lot of stuff to uncover. So yeah, it's been a wrap. I mean, we've been through. Unfortunately, we got a lot of this stuff was like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly, right?
It just shows like how incredibly ridiculous something can be once you actually peel away that filter of belief and faith, and it just becomes like Family Guy kind of a TV show, silly.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we take some calls? Maybe a couple of calls?
Yeah, sure. If anyone's interested, I had it on the stream, but we only got Mo. Nobody else called in. I'm just gonna add. Apostate Aladdin has his own channel. So if you guys don't know, I'm just gonna share it on the screen. You take a look at his channel. He's doing well on YouTube. I definitely think you should all go right now and subscribe to his channel right now. Go here, click on subscribe. Don't unsubscribe if you don't unsubscribe. And I'm going to share the link right here. It's in the description as well. Please do support our fellow Murtad, apostate brother. And yeah, it's right there. Let's get him to 1,000 subs. He's at 642 now. I'm at 11K, so there's 137 people here, so it should be like 800 by the time this. If you enjoyed this specific content, I mean, you're gonna enjoy his content. It's gonna be right on the same sort of thing, from his perspective, and he has a way of doing things that's unique.
Thank you.
I really enjoy your TikToks. Unfortunately, I know TikTok is just very. It's just not a good platform for us ex-Muslims, unfortunately. So it is what it is. So, but yeah, do more on YouTube, my man. And he has some good interviews going on here. Some good short videos reflecting on certain things, which I think are really good. So yeah, definitely do subscribe, and all that fun stuff.
Thank you. I definitely didn't pay him to say that, by the way. I can't afford to, but
yeah. Okay,
I don't want to get into the breastfeeding adults because that we will start next time with the whole Muhammad hijab controversy. Sheikh Albani saying that it's okay for doing that. Another time. But yeah, we have 21 more slides to go. And what we'll do is we'll have one more episode, and Aladdin is more than welcome to bring his flying carpet and his genie along, his lamp with us next time as well. Yeah.
So Mo wants to call in, so let's let him call in one more time.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll finish the last couple of questions he had. And I do think if we keep this up regularly, we'll get more callers. It's just that I know when things are not planned, probably people need to plan time outside of the specific lives or whatever. Maybe they want to call in, but they have work, or for us it's nighttime. Maybe they're going to bed. The kids are there and it can't be loud. Making phone calls and stuff. You can have your headphones on. So I'm sure there's lots of reasons why people can't actually call in right now, which is understandable. But yeah, let's try to do this regularly. The link, I'll send the link. I don't think we're going to do it the same time next week as Abdul Gondal is. I think you're going to be busy, so we'll pick a different time. We'll see what we can do. But we'll try to do this every week if we can. It'd be good.
Yeah,
we'll try the best.
Yeah, more regular since the virus is kind of finishing off now, at least in our part of the world. I'm vaccinated. Things are getting back to normal. I hope everybody's safe, healthy, and sound. And yeah, stay tuned for more. Lots of content coming up. We have, after this stream, I'm planning to finish off the Scandals of Aisha stream, which we did one part of it, dealing with her marriage. And there's lots more because her jealousy it actually played quite a significant role in Muhammad's life and how Islam formed. Like her cheating on him led to the whole creation of the witness rule,
allegedly.
Child marriage,
allegedly.
Child marriage. Then her hadiths basically build Islam because she's the second most profuse narrator of Hadith after, I think, Abu Huraira, right? But we'll talk about that as well. But it was amazing doing this. It's been a while, I know. I don't know if I'm going to be coming back to Twitter. I'll try to appeal. I tried appealing once. Honestly, like, being away from Twitter, it's not the worst thing. I know there's a lot of people to engage with, but after like the whole mass flagging, they're going to just do the same thing again. I'm going to focus more on more YouTube videos now, and I have to still focus on that documentary. And yeah, that's it from my side.
They're not going to shut you down, right? You're just going to move to a different medium. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, how's it going, man?
All right. I was ready to call you Dr. Gondal, but I guess I can wait for a few more weeks, maybe a few more months, but that's okay.
A few more years.
Once again, thank you very much for taking me in, and thanks for your patience, and thanks for all the knowledge and wisdom y'all spread, not just to me, but everybody else out there, and the audience who's going to see this video later on. Now, the pathology that I was talking about, and maybe Abdullah, Gondal, you may see where I'm coming from, and also both of the gentlemen too, is about sexually transmitted disease.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and knowing Muhammad, he had an ugly infancy. He was passed on by one nanny to another. What I understand is he was passed to about 6 or 8 nannies, if not more. And then later on, his childhood was also abused. It was abusive. His early adulthood was also, most of the time, was spent doing labor jobs. So when something like this happens, you tend to understand that person or entity where you can see it must be a disturbed mental process there. Having said that, most people who, and I'm not generalizing here, I'm just giving the facts away, mental attitude has a lot to do with STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, that is. And when I look at his life, he had arthritis, okay? He definitely had arthritis. He also had a chest pain. He complained of chest pain. He felt like he had something was cutting his aorta, maybe it was abdominal aorta, maybe it was, that could be a dissecting aneurysm, I'm not sure. But all these signs and symptoms and indications lead me to think about a sexually transmitted disease, which was very common at that time, and at tertiary or the later stage, it presents such symptoms called syphilis.
I've heard about this theory, yeah, but I'm not sure how well one can prove it or can disprove it.
Well, yeah, I'm not here to either prove or disapprove. I'm just trying to pick your brains about.
I did think about this because we do see that his sexual contacts were pretty high, and obviously there was no protection, and he would brag that he would go have sex with no washing in between. There's multiple hadith to attest to that. And on top of that, these women, some of them he would buy off other people as slaves. Or sometimes he would take the wives of other men when he'd captured them and make them his own, right? And some of them were widows, had kids. So, and then Aisha was also allegedly...
Yeah, but the thing is, there's no... Like, it would only be him with them. So if he had how would that STD spread? Because his wives are his forever and ever and ever until they die.
But before him, they can kind of spread it to him from somebody else. And then he had slaves that were circulating with other people, right? That he was buying, and so that's the problem.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Another thing I noticed was with syphilis, right? Like in the later part of his life, he became a little paranoid and the way he died was kind of weird. Like he had this huge headache and then a sudden onset of fever. And it's just bizarre. He died. He could have been a stroke. Could have been syphilis. There was one point where they gave him some medicine forcefully. It's in Bukhari and the Shia Hadith as well. And the Shia claim that Aisha actually gave him poison to kill him. That's their controversy. But there's the Sunni Hadith said that Muhammad was just paranoid at the end, and then he made all of the other people in that household drink that same medicine just to clear his mind that he wasn't poisoned, but then he died the next day anyway. So
And
How is
given
he
the
so
fact
scared of
that,
being poisoned?
given the fact
Got
that
a
he
lot of
was,
enemies.
Mhm.
given the fact that he was also having some visual loss,
Mhm.
visual loss is also
Oh
a
yeah,
later complication. Yeah, is
good
also a
one.
later
Just pop.
complication in syphilis. Let me give you my standard disclaimer here, so, guys. I always say that I'm not against Muslims. Muslims are dear and near to me. They are close to my heart. They are also humans. They're also people just like me, you, and everybody else. What I'm against is the doctrine of Islam. That's where we have the issue. Muhammad was spreading, and later on his followers, and even until today, they are all spreading the false narrative and the doctrine of Islam, and that's what I'm against. So, viewers, if you see my video and if you see this clip, or if you see, we are not against you. We love you. We really like you. We love you. Please come with the questions here so that could be answered adequately by these gentlemen. They are extremely knowledgeable. But coming back to the syphilitic condition, he also had limp in his leg. He also had,
Mhm.
when his two teeth, I'm not sure what part of the upper or the lower jaw was broken in the Battle of Uhud. His recovery, some references say, took way longer, which is also could be due to bad oral hygiene, could also be due to diabetes kind of condition, or syphilis again. So
Mhm.
all these
Yeah, I don't
indicate.
think we have a chart we can consult here for the patient, so it's going to be very hard
Yeah.
to pin it on him.
There are certain things like with the black magic episode, like what pops up about him that he lost vision to the point where the I think one of the Sira said that he couldn't get up and see the doorknob or the door handle in front of him, and he'd get up and he'd collapse. And then Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi in his tafsir of the two Mawzatain, the two quls, he says that Muhammad would be standing and his leg would go limp and he'd just suddenly just twist and fall down all of a sudden. And then coupled with like his and the thing is that the black magic episode lasted in Hadith, the memory problem where he would forget things that he was doing. That amnesia phase, transient amnesia, it also occurs with epilepsy, but I was looking from that perspective too. It happened in the latter half, like I think 2-3 years before his death. It's in the later half of his life too. So again, I will try to get into this from a few different perspectives in the documentary, because these are similar to stroke. It could be a tumor, it could be a tumor getting worse, could be an aneurysm, because there's fever that gets onset after stroke, and that's a very bad sign. That's exactly what happened. There's other hadith where Muhammad is waking up fainting like 7 times in one day. So there is a lot of speculation on his death, but there are some, we can speculate is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Well, in the later stage, in the tertiary stage of syphilis, these are the kind of complications that you find in a patient.
Mhm.
As I discussed about the cardiovascular disease could be also a poison, but they're all coinciding and converging
Mhm.
on focus. And
So yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I'm gonna have to be the bad moderator here and
that's
just
fair.
say like thank you so much for your your insight and your possible theory there as to what could have been causing some of these things. I do appreciate it. I think Abdullah Gondal has a little bit of a different theory on this, but yeah, I do appreciate this. These are all possibilities. You never know.
I mean, he could also have both, like epilepsy, had too much sex and caught syphilis,
Yeah.
hypersexuality.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So I definitely need to wrap this up, and so just want to say thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
so
Thank
much.
you. Bye.
Again, I have that special documentary coming out. We will definitely discuss these things in a lot more detail with the references directly from the books. So don't worry, you'll like that.
Excited.
Alrighty.
Yeah, excited.
Thank you, Mo.
Bye.
Okay, bye. And just want to say thank you to ex-Muslims of Norway for your donation, and also gonna leave this comment late into the live, but so happy to see Gondal back. Oh man, people are missing you. Every stream I do, people are asking, When is Gondal coming back? When is Gondal coming back? When will he start his YouTube channel? See, Aladdin has beat you to the punch. Like, you're late to the show now. He already has almost 1,000 subscribers. People are asking. I understand that it's one of those things where if you're not gonna have time to dedicate, then you kind of feel like, why bother, right? Is that what it is? That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's like consistency, motivation, and a lot of things going on in life. It's just finding time and then having family and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like you think the algorithm forces you to make daily or weekly uploads to get more views, and I just can't sustain that load.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
I totally just figured, I'd rather just put in a video every now and then. I don't care about the algorithm. I don't care about optimizing it at this point. Just put out videos, man. Like, just do it. But also, if it's gonna be a headache for you, don't get into it. Like,
I might have, what I'm thinking of is like I might have these projects that I do, like this epilepsy project I'm doing. I might have another project where I discuss comparing Islam to prior. I answer from an anthropological lens, but those projects, like I make one video a year or like every 6 months or every 3 months, like kind of Sharif Gaber style, because I want to do it good, and I have like a standard or a certain scope in mind. Like when I make my channel, it's gonna be more like an investigative documentary style, but I want it to look like that and not like So that's a few things. Yeah,
that's definitely the difficulty with YouTube, is it takes a long time to grow. And in the beginning, you're uploading videos with like 50 views, 100 views. It just takes, it can feel like a drag, especially if you're just starting. So, and of course, Abdullah Gondal always comes on the channel anytime, and we have a shared audience. We have a lot of fans of both of us, which is great. I mean, Abdullah Gondal was one of the earliest interviews I did. And, right away when he called me, I felt an instant connection to this guy. And of course, his wife as well is also ex-Muslim. So that's also awesome as well. So yeah, it's great. And any final words? I did already promote Apostate Aladdin's channel, but I'm just going to recommend it one more time. Do check out his channel. Any final words from you, Aladdin?
No, none to share. Just thank you for inviting me to this. This has been fun. I'd love to join another time.
Awesome. Okay, guys. And look who we have.
Hey, how's it going?
Need to get you on here again for one of these. That'll be fun too.
Actually, let's try next one, the last 20. Maybe if you can have him and have a laugh too.
Oh, yeah. And Ridwan, I gotta say, like, honestly, straight up, I've been loving your videos. I laughed my ass off. I completely died laughing watching that fake death threat to a Christian. The analysis you did on it, like, do dawa with the we, and I was dying laughing. It was just so funny. And of course, never mind that one. Even the ones you've been doing with Sajid, it's one of my pet peeves when Muslims misrepresent the Bible. It pisses me off so much. Not because I'm Christian, I don't even care about Christianity, but like it irritates me that they're just lying like that, saying the Bible, like Ahmed Didat style. Show me where the Bible says Jesus is God. Okay, there's like 50 references. It's like anyone that knows the Bible, knows the gospel, knows that it's all over the place. Son of God, in the beginning was God. Like, obviously in John it's the strongest, but even starting from like Mark, it's there. It's throughout the Bible. This is not a corruption. This is what the Bible is about. This is what the Gospels are about. So to me, it drives me crazy when I see that, and I'm glad you put him in his place. I hope he keeps responding to you though, because this will be good. This is awesome. Getting like a Muslim YouTuber responding to you, and
like Sajid Lipham, is that what you're talking about? Oh, that's cool.
Sajid is responding to Apostate Prophet, and Apostate Prophet is just like Ridwan is just like knocking it home, like video after video.
Right on.
I mean, that's what we want to see. I think we've got to the point now where first they just want to ignore you. Now they're like, we can't ignore you anymore, so we're gonna respond to you. That's what we wanted, right? We wanted to have these conversations.
I think the amount of ex-Muslims I've been meeting in real life, like honestly, back in the day, like every other like brown person I'd see, I'd expect them to be 90% chance that they're Muslim, 10%. Even if they're not practicing, they still like, you go to a bar, you'd see a brown guy, they will be drinking, but they'll tell you I don't eat pork, and they'll tell you that they're Muslim, and you can be. And this guy told me you can't be drunk and talk about Muhammad because that's instantly blasphemy as a Muslim. So, but anyways, But now I meet these people and like kind of like I met like I'll give you straight up, the last 10 brown people I've met, 8 of them were ex-Muslim. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
In
the
real life?
area I live, the demographic, but I mean, I live in the West.
Yeah.
Western Muslims are more liberal, but I don't know if it's what's happened in the past few years, but hopefully the movement is growing. It's growing at an exponential pace. And also like the things that I'm hearing from Pakistan, like the speed it's growing at, the atheists there are just popping. There's channels popping up in Urdu, in Arabic, in Punjabi. It's like we're being almost overtaken in terms of like popularity in certain spheres. Yeah.
I'm happy with
cool.
that. I'm happy with people talking about
passing
this.
the torch on. You started a trickle, and now it's becoming a river, and there you go. It's gonna be a flood.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna end it on that. Thank you, and yeah, that was a nice little surprise at the end. Okay, guys, and we'll see you at the next 2 Abdullahs. Bye for now. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Guys and gals, I should